What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Over the Octagon. No UFC event this past weekend. This episode's a little bit different. Taking a break from our upcoming fight previews and recaps, this gave us a chance to finally give our 2 cents on a lot of the hot topics surrounding MMA and the UFC. If you like us making episodes like this, drop a thumbs up on the video down below or reach out to us on any of our social medias linked below and let us know what you think. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music, please rate the show 5 stars, turn on the automatic downloads to never miss another episode. We appreciate all the support we've received recently on our content and look forward to more growth coming the rest of the year.
Hey, pussy, are you still there?
I actually admire that you can actually be this fake. And like when the TV comes on, how you can just change. You're the scum of the earth.
You don't doubt me, I couldn't do it. The odds that I couldn't do it. Look at me now. That's it.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Over the Octagon. Joel, what's up, baby? We're here.
What's up, my dog?
So we have no UFC. We're recording this on a Saturday, which is kind of unusual for us. But we have no UFC event this week, kind of an off week. And then a couple fight nights coming up, which, you know, maybe we'll touch on at some point in the future. But for right now, we haven't got a chance to do an episode like this in quite some time. So we just got some topics, some news, some things we're gonna just have a little discussion, man, have some fun. So if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, whatever that may be, don't forget to turn on the automatic downloads on that. Make sure you never miss an episode. And if you're catching this video on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, leave us a comment as you're watching the video. Leave a timestamp in your comment and join in on the discussion with us. Give us some content to bring into maybe next week's episode. We'd love to have some more interactions with listeners and things like that on some episodes. So that would be good. But so no UFC this week.
Happy Freedom Week, America. Fuck yeah.
Yep. 4th of July was Thursday. Had a solid holiday.
Oh, dude, this is one of the best ones I've had, man. It's been a while. Haven't been able to enjoy the 4th of July in a long, long time. Got to take the girl out, watch the fireworks with the fam.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Really fun.
Yeah.
Very good Freedom Week for us.
Great. Yeah, absolutely. I concur. I second. Just an overall great day, great day. And so that brings us into this weekend. Like I said, we have no UFC. We have some fights going on tonight, which I think we'll catch, and maybe we'll do a TikTok live or something like that. But we did have a bunch of things kind of happen, and some things popped up, this past week. So obviously, without wasting too much time, this past week, Tuesday, I believe, new UFC rankings come out, as they do every, Tuesday after fight events.
Yeah, buddy.
And there was quite the controversy. Well, maybe not, but on some degree, there's always controversy around the UFC's pound for pound rankings.
If you're Dana White, it's controversy.
Right. Well,
a
lot of people. O'Malley had a problem as well, right? Yeah. So here's how the men's pound for pound rankings look right now. For the UFC, number 1 pound for pound is Islam Makhachev. Number 2, Alex Pereira. Number 3, John Jones. Number 4, Leon Edwards. Number 5, Ilia Topuria. Number 6, Sean O'Malley. Number 7, Alexander Volkanovski. Number 8, Max Holloway. 9, Dricus du Plessis. 10, Pantoja. 11, Aspinall. Aspinall somehow went up 2 places. Okay. Israel Adesanya 12, Charles Oliveira 13, Sean Strickland 14, and Aljamain Sterling 15. So, I'm assuming the controversy lies with John Jones being
Number
moved
3.
down to 3, but Alex Pereira went from 4 to number 2. Do you think that? Let's start with that. Do you think that that's justified? Are you good with where maybe let's say the top 3 is Islam, Alex Pereira, and John Jones?
All right. So obviously, you know my bias. You know how I've always felt about the pound for pound rankings, and I will always feel the same way about it. I've never agreed with Islam being the number 1 pound for pound. I'm a very much in agreement with Dana White that John Jones should be the number 1 pound for pound fighter until he loses or he retires. It's plain and simple. He's always been the greatest. He's still technically the greatest fighter of all time, and he's still active. So that justifies him to stay there. I get it. He's inactive. I get it. He's not fighting, but I also am in agreement with Dana where he's the baddest man on the planet. He always has been. He always will be until he loses or retires. So take that out of the picture. I don't not necessarily disagree with Alex Pereira moving up 2 spots because technically I literally said right after that fight, like, you're almost putting this man in the top 5 of all time after his win last week against Yuri. I mean, there's arguments that you could say that with one more big win, one more title defense, one more move up to heavyweight, he could be the number 5 or 4 pound for pound of all time. So
Yeah.
for him to move up 2 spots, it's justified. However, he moved up ahead of John Jones. I don't necessarily agree with that because John is still the heavyweight champion of the world. And to me, that is always who the pound for pound fighter should be. I get it. Islam is there, but even Islam being the number 1 pound for pound fighter, only reason I disagree with him being there is because of his title defenses and the fact that the only title defense that he's had against an active fighter of his weight division is against one person.
Yeah.
So to me, that doesn't justify you being the number 1 pound for pound fighter. Alex Pereira's defended the light heavyweight title. He's defended the middleweight title. I know he lost, but he still defended it. So he's fought people of his weight division, things like that. But I don't hate it. I don't disagree. I don't agree with it nor disagree with it. I think Pereira being number 2 is it's not wrong. I just don't think that I still don't think that John Jones should be number 3, and that's just my opinion on that. As far as 4, 5, and 6, I'm okay with that. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Leon
Well,
being
so
number 4 is fair. Ilya being number 5 is fair, and 6 O'Malley being number 6 is fair in my eyes. I don't disagree with that.
you know the only one that I feel, and this is where pound for pound, like the meaning of it and it all just kind of gets cloudy, is like Pantoja, right? Like
I mean,
Pantoja is a pretty dominant champion in his weight division thus far, at least
sure.
in his reign. Him being 10,
You know why he's 10? Because the way I say that John should be the number 1 because he's the heavyweight champion.
yeah,
They look at him as because he's the smallest champion.
right. He's 125 pounds.
He's not good enough to be in the top 5 after, but he's defended his title 3 times
twice,
now.
I think. Yeah.
So, I mean, the pound for pound list is stupid in my opinion, and it will be. But I
Yeah,
see
it's
where you're
always
coming
a
from.
talking
So
point.
do you think Pantoja should be higher?
I don't know. I mean, you put.
I mean, why?
Like honestly, yes. I think he should be above. I think he should be above Dricus du Plessis for sure. Like Dricus du Plessis hasn't defended his belt. He beat Strickland.
Sure.
But that's it. I mean, we talked about this last night. Actually, you and I, like, he beat Whitaker, right? But I would disagree that that was the same Whitaker that. It's the same thing I'd say, like, Izzy. Like, I don't think Strickland beat Izzy at his best. I don't think Dricus du Plessis beat, Robert Whitaker at his best either. I think for a champion with multiple defenses like Pantoja has, and he's beat some really good guys in his weight division, I think he should be above Dricus du Plessis.
I'm about to say one that might piss everyone off, but how is Max Holloway at 8 ahead of 2 current champions, one who's defended their belt 3 times, ahead of 2 people who are champions, and he's never even been one.
Well, let me ask you more of this, because this is why I think Max is at 8 because Volk is at 7, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
But
he never beat
does that's what I'm saying. That's why Volk's
Yeah.
at 7. Max is at 8 because Volk's still at 7.
Sure.
Does Volk belong at 7?
I'd say yes, because the only 2 losses that Volk has are the number 1 and the number 4. The
3
number 5
losses.
pound for pound. Well, yeah, I guess Islam twice. Yeah, so 3 losses. So
I mean, he beat Yair, but Yair's not even on this list. During
Volk
that
definitely
time
deserves
period.
to be at 7, based on his career and based on what he's done in his respected
But
division.
it's current. It's current.
Yeah,
right? Like it's current.
Pound for pound.
If it was based on your entirety of your career, John Jones would be obvious number 1.
Sure.
You know, obvious. But he's down and he's number 3 because really only solely because of his inactivity, right? I think we can agree on that.
I see where you're coming from, respectfully. I mean, but I just think
Volk
is still there.
Yeah, no disrespect to Volk. Like, I don't intend it to be that way. I just I would argue for Max Holloway to be as successful as he's been at featherweight, except for being able to win that undisputed title, and then to move up to lightweight and knock out one of the greatest current lightweights in multiple divisions. I mean, is that not what pound for pound is?
Yeah.
Right? Like, so, I mean, Max at 8 seems crazy. You know what I mean? But then again, like, same thing. You have Aspinall, who's, the interim heavyweight champ. He's at 11, but he doesn't have
stepped up and came back from injury and got one quick win, and then fought Sergey, who was the boogeyman of the division at the time, and ended up knocking him out.
But that's the
now
problem.
He looks at Sergey as if he's washed.
Well, that's the problem with Aspinall. Is Aspinall doesn't have that. He really doesn't have that big win. The biggest win he has is the Pavlovich win, right? I mean, and that's not that's not an S tier win. That's not a number 1 contender. Like, at that time, neither one of them were number 1 contenders, really. You know what I mean? They were, they were still kind of on that cusp. You had some injuries and stuff. You had, John Jones hurt, like the whole thing. Like, I think if Aspinall eventually, when Aspinall fights for the undisputed heavyweight title, which is inevitable at some point, his ranking will skyrocket from that.
100%. Yeah, if he wins the heavyweight title, he deserves to be in the top 3.
Yeah,
overnight.
It'll depends, right? Like, if you get Ilya and Max, which is the fight that seems to be what things are going towards. If you get Ilya
and Max,
if you get Ilya and Max, and like, if Max wins that, or either one, because they're number 5 and number 8 on the pound for pound list right now, whoever wins that fight, I think, stays above Tom Aspinall.
Yeah, but then, imagine Max does beat Ilya. Then,
Max should be top 5. Max should just take his place and be 5th, I think.
So he jumps a guy who's beat him 4 times.
Yes, absolutely. It's current. He hadn't beat him. No,
I know.
Yeah, absolutely he does. He's beat him 3 times.
3.
Sorry. Yeah, absolutely he does, dude.
But
with the
15,
burner that
14,
he's on right
13,
now, absolutely.
I don't even know if 15's right. I don't know if Aljamain Sterling is the 15th pound for pound best fighter in the world.
Well, Aljamain moved up a weight. It's same thing, brother. He moves up a weight class. He gets, regardless of how people feel about his performance at UFC 300, it was a dominant win. I mean, he was never in any jeopardy of losing that fight at all.
We'll see what's next for him. That's the big question.
I think you got to give him.
That's going to show us if he's going to be able to dominate at a bigger division.
Yeah, Mobzar. That's what I think. That's what I think. I hope so. I want him to fight Mobzar because I think he can beat Mobzar.
Yeah, I think he could too.
I think his striking's better.
So you'd
I think his wrestling is good enough.
Sterling or than Diego Lopez Mobzar?
Yeah, I want Diego Lopez, Brian Ortega. I want the fight that we thought we were supposed to get. And
dude, I just don't know if we're going to get Ortega again, man.
Right. No, I think we will. He posted a thing. He's feeling better. he's doing his whatever. I don't know. We'll have
So
to
you
see how
think
all that
he's ahead
shakes
of the
out.
spear?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Diego even gives a fuck about Mobzar because Mobzar is such a little decision king. He's such a little inactive fucking. It's just like, who cares, dude? That's the guy. Nobody wants to give that guy any type of platform or opportunity. He hadn't earned it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But so anyway, and then we brought up the pound for pound list part of that, and then obviously there was a little bit of back and forth on Twitter. Sean O'Malley was upset that Ilia Topuria was ahead of him on the pound for pound rankings. Topuria being 5, Sean O'Malley being 6. He said, "How's a guy with less title defenses and 5 inches shorter ahead of me on the pound for pound list?"
But that is kind of what I say about, like, why is Islam Makhachev ahead of Alex Pereira and John Jones on the pound for pound list? Like, if you put them two in a fucking room together, Islam's not making it out alive, bro.
Right.
So, I mean, I get where he's coming from. It's like a bigger, badder man should not be behind someone who is smaller than them on a pound for pound.
He's not that
list.
bigger, though. Sean O'Malley fights
I
at
know,
a
Sean
lesser weight
O'Malley.
class.
I know. But
Sean O'Malley fights at a lesser weight class than Topuria, and Topuria has
small.
lightweight fights. Topuria has fights in the UFC at 155 pounds.
Early on, right?
Right before the Josh Emmett and Bryce Mitchell, like right before his fights leading up to
how many fights
him
does
getting
he
a
have
title
in the
shot.
UFC right now?
Topuria?
Yeah.
A bunch. I'll find you. I'll get you his last. I'll get you his last lightweight fight. All right, so he beat Volk, Josh Emmett, Bryce Mitchell, Jai Herbert, which was March 19th, 2022. That was at lightweight. So, I mean, recent. That's not like in the beginning, dude. That's,
I'm gonna keep it real, bro. I think Ilya smokes O'Malley, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
but then again,
O'Malley's a really good striker.
It's kind of like what we were talking about. I know it sounds crazy, but this is like talking like Dricus versus Izzy. You got a guy with a reach who's a counter striker, and you got a guy who will come in and wants to get in there and bang like Dricus. It's kind of similar to O'Malley versus Ilya. Like Ilya's going to need to get inside O'Malley.
I think that discredits Topuaria's boxing and striking ability a little bit. I feel like
I'm not talking about like, but you know what I meant. Not like fucking they're the same skill level of striking, but it's like when you got a guy who's that much taller than you and bigger than you, even if he's a smaller weight class, it's still troublesome to someone
for
who
sure,
has to
for
get
sure,
inside it, you know.
for sure.
When he fought Volk, that was right up Ilya's alley, dude. They're close to the same size. He didn't have to do much getting inside because they're right around the same size. O'Malley, it's going to be tough to get in there because he's fucking long. Dude,
right. It was right. It was easier for him to manage closing that distance.
Yeah, 100%.
Like and really, Volk did fucking everything he could in that first round and won the first round.
He won the first
by
round,
keeping it at distance with his kicks and everything else. And then the second round, it was just a matter of time. Like it's like you almost have to fight. Like he's the type of guy because he possesses so much power.
Yeah.
In his fucking right hand and just in his hands in general, you almost have to fight the perfect fight, right? Like you cannot make a mistake. You can't get cornered up backed against the cage. Like we were watching some of that, last night in ONE FC, right? Like, guys are when they're in the ring. And it stays at a distance, and it's like this normal pace of a fight, loses. The second he's able to get close up on somebody and get somebody backed against the ropes or in the corner or whatever.
I don't know. I'd like to see how O'Malley fights off of his back against the cage. Like, I feel like that's like kind of up his alley a little bit. Like
he's done that well. He circles away. Yeah, he circles away well.
Fighting that kind of.
But again, I don't know if that's a fight we'll ever see. You know what I mean? O'Malley Topuria. My only, obviously being a Topuria fan, but like my justification for Topuria being ahead of O'Malley is, when Topuria won his belt, he knocked out the number 2 pound for pound fighter at the time, which is where we all, talk so highly of Volkanovski.
But then again, we a lot of people didn't really take into consideration that Volk was coming off of a knockout, a bad one at that.
Yeah, he didn't take. He should have probably taken like a whole year.
He should have 100%.
He should have.
And I really think that had a big factor of him getting knocked out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that right hand he hit Volk with knocks out pretty much anybody.
He does, but
because that was about as clean
one
as
of the
he's
toughest
tough.
people to knock out, dude. I mean, he never had been knocked out until Islam knocked him out.
Right.
So I mean, at that point,
anyway,
that's how MMA law goes. Once your chin goes once, it's going to happen inevitably.
It's easy to switch off. Anyway, man, that's the current men's UFC pound for pound rankings. Leave us a comment on YouTube what you think about pound for pound. I mean, it's always controversial, no matter what, And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, I believe there's a link now in the description of our audio-only episodes where you can send us a text message. So do that. Take advantage of that and join into a conversation with us. Another point, our next thing, and another point that was brought up I saw this week on X or Twitter is Bruce Buffer has used the term the one, the only, for two fighters in history. The one, the only, the notorious Conor McGregor, and the one, the only, Johnny Bones Jones.
Yeah.
Is Alex Pereira worthy of the one, the only, Alex Poatan Pereira?
Fuck yeah, he is.
You think he is?
Fuck yeah. Dude, he is...
I think his
bringing
aura,
something. Yeah, his aura. He's bringing something that is almost equivalent to what Conor and John has brought to fighting. Like maybe not so much Conor, because Conor's just like the thing. Whatever Conor brought, it'll probably never be matched again. Like there was just something about him that.
Well, you'd never seen it before, right?
Yeah,
you'd never seen somebody talk the way he talked and then came out there and backed it up.
Yeah, exactly. And John Jones is just John Jones. I mean,
he's just dominant, he's youngest UFC champion ever.
Youngest of all time. But what Pereira has done within the 3 years?
2.5 years, 3 years.
2.5 years he's been in fighting. Like, it's almost hard not to give him his flowers, like to credit the fact of he came in. He's not only beaten 1, 2, 3, 4, but 5, I think now, maybe 6.
Yeah, it's been a ton,
or current or past UFC champions. He came in, beat Izzy, got the belt. He fought Izzy again. He lost. We get it. He beat Strickland. He's beaten Jamal Hill. He's beaten Yuri. He's beaten so many former champs. Like that's not heard of. Like there's people who fought for 15 years and haven't even beaten the amount of champs that he's beaten in 3.
So
there was a list, I think. I just don't know.
Yeah, so he's beaten 5 former or current UFC champions in his first, I guess this would be now 9 fights.
That's crazy.
He beat Sean Strickland. He beat Israel Adesanya.
Yep.
He beat Jan Blachowicz.
That's right.
He beat Yuri Prochazka, and he beat Jamal Hill.
Yeah.
So he's beaten 5 champions.
Name one other person on the active roster right now who's
even done that?
Who's done that in 9 fights? John Jones.
Yeah, no one. Yeah. Maybe
it.
John Jones, right. Yeah. Yeah. So, and really all right, so really looking at
there may be more. Anderson Silva maybe.
Yeah.
There's probably been a few that have.
Well, the only thing with Anderson Silva is Anderson Silva was a champion for so long. Like
I know
how I don't know how many people, how many other champions he actually beat. So he made Alex Pereira made his UFC debut November 6th of 2021. So it's been about 2.5 years. In 2.5 years, He's had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fights in 2.5 years. He is 8-1 in the UFC.
Yep.
Out of his 9 UFC fights, 5 of them have been for titles. They have been title fights. He's had more title fights in the UFC than non-title fights.
Yep.
And he's only been in the UFC for 2.5 years. Beat Izzy, lost to Izzy. Moved up, beat Jan Blachowicz, then won the light heavyweight title. Now has defended the light heavyweight twice.
That's wild.
Yeah.
The one, the only Alex Pereira. Plain and simple.
He only has 13 at this point MMA fights. He's 11-2. He only has 13 MMA fights. There are guys that have 13 MMA fights before they even make their UFC debut.
Yep.
He has more fights in the UFC than he did before, outside of the UFC, before he made it to UFC.
Yep.
At this point, I mean, the run that he's on is incredible. It's unlike anything anybody's ever seen. So yeah, I'll side with you. I'll agree with you. I think if you're going to give anybody that one the only, I think he's deserving at this point just because of what he's been able to accomplish in such a short amount of time. It's absolutely insane.
And I was talking to somebody today that he may have not even lost to Izzy had he had not had to cut down the 185 that last time. Because that weight cut may have been a big factor of him getting knocked out, especially of a guy his size.
Possible,
He should have went up. He should have never even fought at 185. Like, that guy should have been fighting at 205 the whole time.
The only reason I think he was there is because Izzy was there, right?
Exactly.
I mean, with it sucks to say, but I think it's the truth. Without Izzy, there is no current Alex Pereira.
That's true.
So to some degree, Izzy is partly responsible for Alex being the superstar that he is right now. You know what I mean?
What happens when you call a dude a drunk loser?
Yeah, there's some guy sitting in a bar somewhere, that's saying, I beat that guy one time. Yeah, well.
So what if he beat Izzy twice? So what if he never lost? If he didn't lose that fight to Izzy, is he top 5 of all time?
Well, because then he would have been a double champion probably. I doubt he would have even had to fight Jan Blachowicz. He probably would have went right to a light heavyweight title
fight.
Obviously he would win that, as we saw him win.
And then defend it twice.
Yeah, I mean, then it's hard to say. I don't know what happens when you become a double champ. Does he just give up the middleweight belt? Does he try to go back, defend the middleweight belt? At that point, it was supposed to be Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya.
Yep.
How does Dricus fare against Alex Pereira?
He doesn't.
Yeah, I think that's actually laughable to even think about.
Not a lot of people in this world fare against Alex Pereira.
Yeah, I mean,
anyone under 205 pounds does not fare against Alex Pereira.
That's really what makes what Izzy did incredible. I mean, we can make excuses and say the weight cut, whatever, but I mean, that was such a cool moment, dude. The celly that he hit afterwards with the fucking arrows.
Yeah, I mean, but at some point, you got to realize that he's also knocked Izzy out twice and beat him. 3 times.
No, for sure. Scorecard definitely favors Pereira, but
yeah. So it's great that Izzy finally got his get back, but let's not forget that these motherfuckers didn't just come straight in the UFC and fight each other. They had previous blood before, and it was all Poton before that. So
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I think he deserves it, one and only. Yeah.
So that would be sweet. Maybe we'll clip it and ship it, send it out to Bruce Buffer. Bruce, the next time that you give Alex Pereira his introduction, I think it's time. I think we hit him with the one, the only.
Do you do it if he faces John Jones, both of them?
No, you can't. No.
What if he says the one, the onlys?
No. You can't do it both, right? So
So who is it going to be then?
John. It's got to be John.
I know.
It's got to be John over Alex. But, that's a scary matchup for John. But
well, speaking of Alex since it's on our list, but it was down more, we can just kind of throw it in there in the mix. I saw today Anthony Joshua made a tweet and said, I'd love to see Alex Pereira try boxing out. Like, I get it, he kickboxes and he's boxed, but he wants to see him try boxing out. And then Pereira just retweets, oh yeah, like I'm a little old, so I'm probably not going to make a career out of it, but who would you like to see me box? And then that gets you thinking, like, okay, who could Alex Pereira just go straight into the WBC and take on a champion in boxing at 205, light heavyweight? Like, does
I don't know. It makes him so one-dimensional.
Go out there and beat fucking Anthony Joshua in a boxing match?
I don't know. Why doesn't Anthony Joshua, if that's what he wants, why didn't he come and fight him in fucking UFC or kickboxing?
Because no fucking boxer's ever going to do that.
Then they should just keep their fucking mouth shut on Twitter and stop calling out UFC fighters to beat them in a boxing ring.
He didn't really like call him out. He just said he wants. He would love to see him do it.
I personally don't. I don't. It's not even really something I care to see. I don't. I think because it takes away one of Pereira's biggest, most successful weapons, which are his kicks and his leg kicks. I mean, he just knocked out Yuri Prochazka with a head kick.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You've seen him in the gym boxing, like hitting the bag. And when he trains and he spars with those boxers, like remember he trained with that the Olympic boxer, and he was in there piecing that motherfucker up.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Sure. Could he be successful? Yeah. I don't know. That's just like it. I would much rather see him. I mean, he's right. He's 37. You know what I mean? So like, I would much rather see him, get all the juice out, juice out of the squeeze that he can, or whatever that saying is. Like, I would rather see him get as much as he can out of his current run that he's on with the UFC, and move up to heavyweight. Like him moving up to heavyweight is at the top of my list of things I want to see.
There's only one other 37-year-old champion in the world.
Right.
And his name's John Jones.
Yeah. Which so let's go to this. We're just going to keep bouncing around. So let's go to this. So John Jones hinted in an Instagram comment that he is fighting in Madison Square Garden in November would be his return. And then very shortly after, Bo Nickel posted to his Instagram story, UFC 309, November 9th, Madison Square Garden.
Yep. Again, both of them on the same card in Madison Square Garden again.
Yeah. So, I guess that obviously hasn't been confirmed by anybody from the UFC. Nothing's been officially announced. Nothing like that, right? But, we've seen him. He's back in the gym. He's training, John Jones. So it looks like that's probably what is going to end up happening. You're going to have John Jones, Stipe Miocic in Madison Square Gardens, November 9th, UFC 309. Bo Nickel also posted he will be on that card as well. So we saw Bo Nickel on, where did we see him? UFC 300?
300.
He was on 300?
Yeah, 300.
He was on 300 against Cody Brundage.
Yep.
So Bo Nickel, I want to know his opponent, really. You know what I mean? We kind of already know.
It's got to be, you think it's top 15?
So let's see. So he's a middleweight, right?
Imagine it's Chris Curtis.
Chris Curtis just got hurt, though. I don't think is Chris Curtis back. I mean, Chris Curtis tore his ACL or something, didn't he?
What about Barola? That'd be a wild fight.
Kai Barola. He has a fight booked, I thought, doesn't he?
Does he?
I'm pretty sure everybody does. I feel like I think he has a fight coming up. So does Michael Pereira. So does Anthony Hernandez.
Is this where you book Hamzat Bo Nickel right now?
Can Hamzat even fight at MSG? Can Hamzat even get into America? Is Hamzat not a terrorist? Does Hamzat not do crypto dumps on 4th of July week like a true scumbag?
Like, what is that all about, dude?
Hamzat, as I initially had some like grace for him, like, oh shit, dude, maybe he has a serious illness. I feel bad. He pulled out of the fight in Saudi Arabia. But now it's fuck Hamzat, dude.
I
Now it's
think
fucking.
you do Roman Dolidze, Bo Nickel.
Okay. Yeah.
Bo Nickel beats Roman Dolidze.
Dolidze just fought, right? He just beat
Yeah.
Anthony Smith.
Yeah. He's beatable. 100%.
Yeah. But that's I mean, he's top 10 currently in the
I know.
middleweight division, so that'd be a ridiculous step up for Bo Nickel. It's going to start getting crazy, but I feel like
they just announced Fluffy and Michael Pereira.
Right.
So that's locked in at 13 and 14.
Chris Curtis had a really bad injury, so I just can't speak on what his current status is,
Sure.
and if he'll be ready. Hamzat's always a question mark. I'm pretty sure Kai Barallo has a fight booked. Dolidze just fought Jack Hermanson. Jack Hermanson fought.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
You think it's too much of a step up?
Too much. That's not the guy you want to put Bo Nickel up against right off the jump in the top 15, dude. Not after what Hermanson did to Piper.
Right.
That's just not. I don't like it. It scares me because I feel like he proved me wrong. He showed me that don't fuck with this guy. He's like the Neil Magny of the fucking middleweight.
Hear me out. Hear me out.
Paulo Costa.
Joe Pyfer, Bo Nickel.
Ooh, I don't like. Ooh, that's
why
tough.
not? That's dude. That's such a good.
But
two different styles.
Is it risky for Bo to take that fight without it being a top 15 fight? Like if Piper was like 15, 14, I'd say yes. But the fact that Piper's
he's
ranked,
right there in the top 20. He's got to be right there in the top 20 as
I know,
as
but
is
for
Bo Nickel.
For it to be Bo's big next jump, I feel like that's.
Is he taking a big next jump? We don't even know that. You're speculating that.
Sure.
You don't know what is. I'm saying
But I feel like with his name that he has, the aura that he's brought, and he's got such this high name, I couldn't see Dana going his next true test without giving him a top 15 fight. It's going to be against Joe Pyfer. Like that's a fucking fight, dude.
Yeah, for both guys though.
Yeah.
For Bo Nickel and for Joe Pyfer, that's a tough fight either way.
But it doesn't put either one of those guys in the top 15 though.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
You think so?
Yep, I do. I think the loser of Michael Pereira, Anthony Hernandez, if you were to make that fight, like if you were to make the fight Joe Pyfer, Bo Nickel, the winner of that takes the spot of the loser between Michael Pereira and Anthony Hernandez. You can leave Chris Curtis where he is. Who cares, right? Like he's 15, he's injured, so you know what I mean. But people get moved out of the top 15, not fighting all the time. It happened to Frivola when 300 happened, right? When Max Holloway got put into the 155-pound rankings, So it happens all the time. So I just think that's a ridiculous matchup. Two different styles. And, it would be
interesting.
It's definitely interesting, right?
Yeah. I don't know if it favors Pyfer very well.
Maybe. I'm not saying it favors Pyfer. I think Bo Nickel's wrestling's just so fucking good.
So good. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be
tough.
He's going to have to fight somebody who can control.
He's going to have to show takedown defense.
Yeah.
But then on the other hand, who has Bo Nickel fought? That is a serious threat that if you get hit, you might go out, right?
Nobody.
Pyfer has legitimate one-punch knockout power, which Bo Nickel's never faced. So that's why I think it's such an interesting matchup. But again, whatever, we'll have to wait and see. Either way, both of those guys, John Jones, Bo Nickel, have both hinted at UFC 309, November 9th at Madison Square Garden. So we'll have to see, how that shakes out. I'm going to be really sad if that's what happens because I'm not going to be sad. Let me take that back. But I will miss that pay-per-view. That is the day I'm getting married. So
I'll be here in spirit for you here.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll be at 1FC the night before that. So
Yeah. So what are we thinking?
Last but not least.
Yeah, we mentioned Hamzat's crypto dump. We don't need to get too much into that. Dude's a scumbag. He promoted a crypto coin, and then it looks like they did the old pump and dump, and he took advantage of anybody that wanted to listen to his shit and do what he was promoting. Which, if you're buying crypto coin that Hamzat Chimaev is promoting, I think you need to go look yourself in the mirror. And I don't know if you even blame Hamzat for that. I think you need to blame yourself. You need to blame yourself. You need
blame
to take
yourself,
a long,
bud. Blame yourself.
Take a long look at the mirror and go, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I taking crypto coin advice from a fucking literal terrorist? Why would I be doing that? Anyway, let's close out something fun, dude, because we're about 40 minutes in. So let's close out moments. Funny moments in fighting is something that got brought up to us as well this week. So we've been talking about it the last couple days. What's like your
not really funny moments, but moments in fighting that like happen all the time that'll never not be funny.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And one that came to my mind first was it's never not going to be funny seeing Greg Hardy get knocked out. Like whether it's boxing, bare knuckle, UFC, getting to see Greg Hardy get knocked out will always be top tier funny moments. And
dude, well, so it's interesting because one of the first things that came to my mind was Johnny Walker getting knocked out.
That's another one. It's like a Lego movie when he gets knocked out.
Dude, Johnny Walker, it's almost like Triple H in the WWE selling people's moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's almost like he's faking it. Like he got knocked
look like
out.
He's faking it.
Like it's like watching Triple H get hit with a Stone Cold Stunner. You know what I mean? Like
it's fucking awesome.
But as soon as you brought this topic up, you know, the first thing that came to my mind, because we've talked about it recently, was Trevor Peek's fucking hammer fist.
Oh, the Trevor Peek hammer fist is great. No one in UFC does that. And it came up last night when we were watching ONE FC. The dude just came in and just was throwing the most outrageous hammer fist.
Yeah, that was a fake fight. I realized that was a fake fight as soon as I also realized the guy that ended up beating him, the guy he was fighting, is main eventing their card in Denver.
No, eventing the card in Atlanta.
Oh, main eventing the card in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a fake
kickboxing side quest.
No, that was a fake fight. That was a fight to
set up.
They were trying to get him a highlight KO for them to put on the fucking the promotion reel.
It's very possible.
For sure. But then the other things that we talked about that brought to mind that would never not be funny. Anytime Derek Lewis gets on the mic after a knockout.
Dude, that's history right there. Every time he gets on the mic, he makes a historic speech. Every time.
So we have, obviously, my balls was hot. Derek, why'd you take your pants off? My balls was hot.
Yo, Ronda Rousey, where you at?
Yeah. Where Ronda Rousey fine ass at? And then when he knocked out, I don't know if you remember when he knocked out Volkov. He said President Trump called me before the fight, or he said what happened because he was losing the whole fight, and he said, I forgot that President Trump had called me before the fight and told him Russia making him look bad, Putin and shit. I gotta knock this Russian motherfucker out. USA, and then he says USA in this hoe.
Yeah, dude, he's great. He's fucking awesome. Let's see. I got another one. This one kind of came to my mind too. Awkward Daniel Cormier moments when he does post-fight interviews. Every time he gets in there to do an interview and it becomes awkward, Daniel Cormier does the most weirdest shit in those moments. Whether he just walks away without even saying a word, mid-sentence, he'll just walk away from the whole fucking sentence. It'll just be like interviewing someone and it'll become awkward and he'll just be like,
he's really good at just taking the mic from people and leaving.
Just leaving. And then when he interviews like women and they start doing awkward sexual shit, he gets
out of there.
Uncomfortable. He looks like an idiot out there. And that shit makes me laugh.
So that brings up that makes me think of I think it was Umar Nurmagomedov. Joe Rogan did in a post-fight interview of Umar Nurmagomedov after one of his fights, and then as he was leaving the cage, he goes, Umar. He went to say Umar Nurmagomedov, everyone, and goes Umar Nurmagomedov. Do you remember that?
Daniel Cormier or Joe
No,
Rogan?
Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Joe
Nurmagomedov.
Rogan has good moments too. So
Well, that's So Joe Rogan's. I remember Joe Rogan one time saying a cut looked like a goat's vagina.
no shit.
Yeah. And then.
Oh wait, I forgot one.
Okay.
John Anik, when he goes, and these two fighters are recently something about domestic violence or something.
Oh, yeah.
That John Anik had the moment of a lifetime back in the day.
Well, and the other good one with the commentary team is before Anik and Cormier. I forget what that guy's name is. But he goes, it's a white shorts something.
Oh yeah,
black shorts,
Joe Rogan.
and Joe Rogan goes, or white guy, white shorts, black shorts.
Black guy, black shorts. And John Anik was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna let you say that one."
Yeah, that was said by Joe Rogan.
No,
it wasn't
Rogan, everyone.
Yeah, it wasn't Anik. It was before. That was way before Anik. It wasn't John Anik. It was.
I know who it is. I know who it was. I just can't remember his name off the top of my head.
So the
That was Joe
commentary,
Rogan, everyone.
the commentary team is always good for
It is
funny moments in fighting. But
especially those the pre-fight show with DC, Sanko, Bisping, and they do and when they start drinking, they get funny, dude. They start getting drunk on that pre-fight show, and it starts to get funny in there.
Yeah.
I like it when they make them drink and take shots and shit, and then they get drunk and they start acting fools on the screen. That's great.
The commentary team's always good. Anybody, man, if you're, again, like I know I've mentioned it already, but if you said anything or if you have any other funny moments that stick out to you in fighting in general, UFC, MMA, whatever it is, drop a comment down below. Leave us, some of your favorite, funniest moments. Oh, you dude, I'm sitting here thinking like, there's so many more.
Your wife is in me DMs.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, Connor. I feel like Connor would. Oh, one of the best Connor ones for me is Jeremy Stevens. When Jeremy Stevens says,
"Who the fuck is this guy?"
When he knocks people out, he TKOs, and when I knock people out, they don't fucking move. And he goes, "Who the fuck is that guy?"
That's all time right there. All time.
Yeah. So, I feel like funniest moments, we would be mistaken not to at least mention Conor McGregor in that for sure.
What about Molly McCain getting the belt and running around the ring and then losing her next fight?
Yeah. I mean, that's ironic, I guess. That's like,
That just
comical
kind of popped
irony.
into my brain. I was just like, what other dumbass moments have we seen in the UFC?
Plenty.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. But leave a comment if you're thinking.
I like that.
Yeah, leave a comment if you think of any of your favorite funny moments in UFC and MMA and fighting. But yeah, man, this has been a good conversation. Where, like we said, this is an off week for the UFC this weekend. We have a fight night coming up. Right, that is
13th.
Right, July 13th. And that's the Rose Namajunas Tracy Cortez.
Yep.
And that's in Denver, I believe.
Yep. Sure is. Altitude, baby.
So I like the main event. Like I'm down to I'm so down to watch Rose Namajunas Tracy Cortez. Some of these other fights though, I don't care. I don't care. I mean, Anjay Lusa is on this card. He's the guy that fucking quit against Brian Battle recently, where he was fine after they ended the fight. All of a sudden, when the fight was over, he wanted to fucking fight him. But before, he's like, my eye, I can't see. He was getting pieced up. He quit. So, Lusa's a bitch. He's fighting 15-1 Gabriel Bonfim.
Bonfim's gonna fuck his ass up, dude.
Yeah, I think Bonfim's gonna. If he was getting fucked up by Brian Battle, he's gonna get fucked up by Bonfim.
Yep.
But that's this Saturday, July 13th in Denver. Headline Rose Namajunas, Tracy Cortez. Other than the headline, the card is mid. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. It's fucking mid. But that's a good main event. A little women's MMA action, baby. Let's get that.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Of course. But anyway, I think that wraps us up for this week. As always, like I said, man, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the thumbs up, like the video, leave us a comment. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music, don't forget to rate the show 5 stars. You can do that if you hit those 3 little buttons. It'll give you the option to rate the show, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, and don't forget to turn on automatic downloads so you never miss another episode of Over the Octagon podcast.
And last but not least, make sure you check out our sponsors, Mayhem on the Mat. Use code Over the Octagon at checkout, save 15%. The shirts are fucking sick, and you'll fucking love
the
them.
link to all of that and the couple sponsors that we have for the show now are in the descriptions on everything. So make sure you check them out. Get yourself a t-shirt. Get yourself a couple t-shirts.
They're sick. I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Super dope.
But with that, man, catch you on the next one. It's been fun. It's been real.
Yes, sir.
Keep it hot.